Voltron Network.
Yeah, we're up. What's good, guys? Welcome back to Talking at the Movies. I'm Edris Antonio.
And I'm Mo. And boy, do we have a packed show for you today.
What's good, Mo?
What's good, man?
And
Life is good right now, especially like if you think about TV wise. If you got to like step outside your home, then it's a bit rubbish.
there's all, oh man, it is. It. I used to think of this dream of just sitting at home, just watching stuff, and now it's reality.
We're living that dream now. You're getting to actually live it.
It's crazy. It's crazy. You want to jump into straight what you've been watching?
Let's go straight into what we've been watching, man,
That's
because there is so
outside.
much of it.
That's outside of the reviews that we're gonna do. Because what we set out last week after watching the trailers to watch Lockdown, and halfway in Chewy Tail Edgy of Four managed to look up the name,
Right,
and Doug Lyman as the director of that.
right.
So we're gonna review that, and we're gonna review what was the other one more? I'm
So
forgetting.
you've got Outside the Wire.
Outside the Wire. Yeah,
Yep. And One Night in Miami.
that I didn't get to watch.
You did not watch that.
That
I
fell
even
out.
text you. Even text you say like these are the three films.
Yeah, but I figured because we didn't talk about it the week before, I figured I let that be a mole review.
That's gonna be like. Is this what it's gonna be like now? I'm gonna watch all of these films like you because last week's episode you started off. Mo, we've got to watch these films we talk about.
Yeah, but we didn't talk about that one the week before.
No, well we have spoken about One Night in Miami like previously. Right, so One Night in Miami, really good bloody film. I will say it does start off a little bit slow. It does take a little while to get going, but once the fire arrives, the heat arrives.
What's it about? People screaming.
So this is a sort of film that you could film on a really tight budget because it literally is like four guys.
What's it about?
I'm getting to it. So essentially One Night in Miami is essentially Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Sam Cooke, and Jim Brown all gathered together for one night and essentially like hanging out on the night that Muhammad Ali becomes the world heavyweight champion, and they're kind of just like chilling, relaxing, but from like their talking, like an argument arises, and this is like the night that I say Muhammad Ali, he's still actually Cassius Clay at this time,
Yeah.
and he's on the verge of like announcing to the world that he's going to become a Muslim.
Okay.
Now, I'll admit, I had absolutely no idea who Sam Cooke and Jim Brown actually were.
Oh, Jesus Christ. No culture. No culture.
Well, these guys were like way before my time.
Before my time. I still know who they are.
But there is like a really shocking scene at the beginning of the film that I really want you to watch because I wanted to like just know how horrified you were with it. So it's basically Jim Brown, while he's in town, basically goes to this house where this white family lives, and the owner of the house, he comes out and he sits there and he treats Jim Brown like he's an equal. He says like, if there's anything I can do for you or your mum, because I think his mum must have been like a servant or something.
Quickly, for anyone under the age of like 30 or 20 that's probably listening to this, give a little background on who each of these individuals are.
So Jim Brown was a famous NFL football player, and when I say famous, he's actually got some earth-shattering records. He was like the first person to ever do like 100 touchdowns, and I don't know when they mean 100 touchdowns, whether that is in one season or a career. I'm assuming that's one season.
Yeah.
That stood for a long time. Actually, it might have been 98. I think the record got broken with 100 recently. He was inducted he was given the award for like one of the greatest players of all times in the early 2000s. And he then went on. He retired from the NFL and became an actor.
Okay. Sam Cooke.
Yeah. Sam Cooke was a musician. He was a very clever musician as well because he realized all the money was in publishing and songwriting rather than actually singing. And they talk about that in the actual film. But if I get back to like the Jim Brown moment, they're having like this time where this white guy's honored that this NFL star has come to see him, and then his granddaughter comes out the house and says, "Oh, Grandpa, remember you've got to move like a piece of furniture." So Jim Brown gets up and says, "Oh, you're moving furniture. Do you want me to help you?" And the guy turns around and gives like a smile on his face and says, "No, that's okay." And then he uses the N word, right? It says, "We don't allow the N's in the house." And you're just like, what's just happened here? Like, this guy has literally like 30 seconds ago treated him like he was like an equal, like he was so glad to see him, like offering to do anything for him, and then
that
turns around and says that.
it's that old mentality where
Oh,
I don't even know. They don't even think about it. It's like a knee-jerk thing. It's like,
yeah.
they say niggas or whatever. It's like, oh.
But what I was really surprised was, I was looking at the guy who plays Jim Brown, and I go, I know you from somewhere. I know you from somewhere, right? He was the dude who he was the black tech guy in Leverage.
I saw that so many years ago. I barely remember who was in that. It never stuck with me as much as it did with like you and Ravi. You two were like loving that show.
Oh, I did like that show. That was it's one of those sort of like guilty pleasure type. You watched The Magicians recently, didn't you? It's that kind of show, right? But all of these guys, like when I looked up their bios and stuff, none of them were like sort of like mega kind of famous, have been in like blockbuster films, but they will be now after this.
It's sometimes the best way when you're portraying someone who exists.
Yeah.
You know, with a few exceptions like Michael Sheen or whatever, but it's good to get people that don't distract you from the character that they're supposed to be portraying. The real.
Yeah, but overall, it's essentially you got Malcolm X doing his thing, right? He's basically being preachy. You've got like the other guys getting a little bit annoyed that he's being like that. He's telling Sam Cooke off for not using his career to further the cause, and then he plays not Willie Nelson, who was oh my god, I forgot the guy's name. Blowing in the Wind, that song. You'll know it. Yeah. He plays that song and he goes, how can a white man who's never had to struggle like we have write lyrics where he perfectly describes what's happening to us and you can't do it and you won't do it? It's an amazing film. Like once it gets going, the stuff they talk about is just fantastic. Muhammad Ali and like his other friends are like, yeah, how can you hang around with Malcolm X? He calls the white man the devil, yet the white man is giving you money to help you train. There's all like these little things. This
is what I didn't really. I wasn't in the mood to. I figured it would go in that direction. I'm just not in the mood for that because it's always so much shit. And sometimes you need a break from all of that race shit, man.
I don't know. There was something a little bit uplifting about it because, like you said, it all happens in one room. It's not like they go out in the town and riots start and like police. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I might give it a look.
Yeah. I'd give it a go.
What's the platform on?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, easy. So it's right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Right.
Wow.
So the other two films that we had to watch, Lockdown. And...
those are our reviews. Did you watch anything else?
Oh yeah. I watched loads of stuff. Let's have a look. So, right, Eddie, I have a new obsession in life.
Supermarket.
Well,
whatever
I'd love
that
to. I'd love to. Oh no!
That show.
No. Oh, the Superstore. Yeah. That's actually suddenly landed on that Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's literally on the front page. Like it wasn't there like one day, the next day, boom, they've got like 5 seasons. No, you'll be very interested in this. So I've been meaning to watch for quite a while a show called The Roman Empire on Netflix.
That's the one that's like part dramedy and part documentary, kind of.
Dramedy? No, it's a part drama.
Drama. Drama. Dramatized drama. Yeah. No comedy. But with a documentary sort of occasional voice.
Exactly. So
I did watch some of that, yeah.
Mate, I watched all 3 seasons this week.
Oh, wow.
I like one after the other. Mate, not only was I fascinated, I have been watching videos on YouTube. I've ordered a whole bunch of films like Spartacus, and like like all these old big epics. I've just got the bug.
Dude, this is what happened when I watched Spartacus, the TV show. That's why I'm telling you need to go back and watch it.
I found a secondhand copy in CEX. I'll order that today. It's been dispatched.
What, all the seasons?
All 4 seasons.
Nice.
Yeah. I was about on the verge of importing it, and then I thought, let me just check CEX, and it was like almost half the price.
It's crazy. I did look up like on Amazon afterwards to buy a Blu-ray of it, and it was mad the prices that we're going for.
Yeah, because it's been discontinued. So like, you could quite easily pick it up for like 40 quid, brand new, like when it was like on store shelves. Sorry. Yeah. I bet you there are. If you walk into HMV, I bet you could find brand new copies still, but you can't because they're all closed.
Yeah.
But like, dude, if you have, or you said you watched a couple of episodes, yeah. I was so into it, and I suddenly realized that my knowledge of like that era is severely lacking. Or I remember a few bits that we did from school, but when I say school, you don't really cover all of this stuff. There was like very general stuff that you covered, but you never really covered like the ins and outs, the grittinesses of it. I think my new mantra in life now, when I come to a crossroads and I don't know what to do, I'm gonna be like, what would Julius Caesar do?
Oh God. Oh, days.
But honestly, it's even got me wanting to go and like read books and stuff now, because obviously the thing that stands out about this particular show is that while it tells you the names and it gives you the basic gist of the story, they have sexed it up a little bit to like make it more interesting, right there. So it's not historically accurate to the T, but you know, it kind of gives you that taste. And if you want to then go and find out more about it, you can do.
Kind of defeats the purpose if it's part documentary, doesn't it?
It's a weird one, right? So if we take like say Commodus, who I didn't realize, you know, is the same guy that they're talking about in the Gladiator film.
Yeah.
He dies strangled in the bathtub, right? But in this, he's sitting in his bedroom, and the gladiator who he screwed over comes in, and they basically fight to the death. So it's that kind of thing. So
Why
they
would they do
changed.
that?
I think they've obviously decided they want to make it more attractive to people to come in and watch. Which you don't really need to do, because like the Roman stuff is just like so brilliant.
But then just make it a drama. Then you can take the liberties as much as you want. But if you're going to have a documentary and have people talking heads talking about shit, then you have to stick to the facts.
It's really odd, because they look as though they've spent quite a lot of money on like making those sets and costumes. You could have quite easily have done a drama, quite easily. So. And in fact, you know what? There's some network is missing a beat somewhere. Like someone needs to do an
HBO
epic.
Rome. HBO Rome. Remember that show?
It did.
Was very good, but they.
I'd also say I've just ordered a copy of that as well.
I think I've got mine somewhere.
Yeah, but economics have changed. Now they're spending 10 million an episode. They said they couldn't do Rome because it was too expensive. Like when was that? Like 15 years ago? Economics have completely changed now.
Yeah, but I think we might start to go backwards again with if everything like, you know, continues as it is now. I think they're gonna want to rein in those purse strings, and they're not gonna want to go too crazy. I think we'll have a window with all the superhero stuff, but I don't know if it's not superhero related. I can't see a historical epic being. They've wanted to do one about ancient Egypt forever, but no one's ever been able to commit to it.
All that, do you know what? Like when you look at the story of Caesar and you see it, like all that stuff, and then it crosses over into Egypt and stuff, and you're like, this would make a mental TV series, or just Ridley Scott, man, get on the fucking case before you like pass and do it justice.
Yeah, it would. I love it. I love it all. So I love history. So I was talking about watching them YouTube documentaries and going down a hole and not watching anything else.
Like, last few nights I've been watching like so much of like various like ancient history and stuff. You know, like learning about the Greeks. Netflix have got another one called the Ottoman Empire, which I've just started, which is based on the siege of Constantinople. Loved it though. Great series. That's a 5 out of 5. In fact, had I watched it in the year that had come out, that would definitely have been in my top 5.
See, so maybe it's time to go back to Barbarians as well.
Oh yeah, I absolutely am going to. I also finished off F is for Family. Highly recommend that. I know you've already seen it. I won't dwell on that too long. And basically, the only other thing I watched was The Expanse, Wandavision, and our films.
Not much this week, but I checked out a documentary on Netflix. I think it might have come out last year. I presume it did. About the Night Stalker. The notorious
I've seen the trailer.
Serial killer in Los Angeles in the early 80s. This guy, like I've listened to podcasts about this guy many a time, and you know, I figured I knew everything I need to know. But a friend recommended it to me, so I went and checked it out. And you just forget that this guy was like a walking greatest hits of serial killers. I don't want to sound like I'm glorifying, and I'm not going to get graphic into what he did. Just watch the documentary. It's just messed up. But like when he was loose, you know, usually when there's a serial killer on loose, I remember there was one in the UK. I forgot what the name of the killer was, but in the 80s when I was a kid, and it was only going after women. So I was terrified for my mum whenever she went out. And usually that's the case with serial killers. There's a specific profile that certain killers going after, and now those people are scared. This guy, you were young, you were old, you were black, you were white, you were a man, you were a woman, you were a kid, it did not matter. This guy was like a maniac.
So I did actually watch the trailer on this one over the weekend. So I guess that makes it really difficult to like profile him and kind of work out where he's going to strike next or any sort of pattern.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he did fuck up in a few areas. But it was really good. It's a really good documentary, and what brings it alive is very good at editing. Like they do some cool little, playful things visually to make it a little more appealing. So it's worth checking out.
Okay.
They talk to the detectives. It's only about 4 or 5.
Okay.
So real quick, they talk to the detectives that were chasing him down and get into their background, and it's good. It's good. I like it. If you're into true crime, Night Stalker, check it out.
I might have to give this one. Yeah, I'm really surprised about the amount of like serial killers that have happened during my lifetime that I literally have like no recollection of them being like on the news at the time. Although this one was like quite early 80s though, wouldn't it?
Very early 80s, yes. We've been real little. What was the other thing I checked out? I think of some DC animated movie, Batman Son of the Dragon, which is very strange because Batman is basically the supporting character in his own movie.
That's not the new one though, is it?
New,
there's one that's just come out. Like it's all. Is that the trailer where it looks like everything is in the 70s?
That's the one. Yeah.
Oh, that is the one.
That's the one. Whole thing's based in like the 70s. It's all the music, the style, and Batman's not even the star of it. It's like these other random characters. Bruce Lee ripoffs.
Yeah, the trailer did look really strange, but it looks strange in such a way. I was like, I want to watch it because it was so different.
Yeah, it is very different. And it ends in the most bizarre way.
Yeah,
they could do a sequel to it if they want to. It's weird, but that was pretty fun, I guess.
They seem to churn these out, the DC animated ones, like quite regularly.
How do they make money? How many people actually buy these? Because so many people
they're probably being bought. They're probably on streaming platforms. They're probably on like Warner's like HBO service.
Yeah, they just churn so many out. It's crazy.
Yeah, and they also just come out without warning. I guess if you're in that fandom, you probably know it. But they do seem to just come out like every 4 months or something.
Yeah, real true. Probably something else. Oh, I did check out The Stand. This was a adaptation. And it's interesting so far. It's like a post-apocalyptic world, but it's not zombified. Like it's just disease that fucks everyone up and kills them, and just a handful of people are immune, and you just kind of seeing how they get by. But there's some sort. I haven't got deep into it. Never read the books, but there seems to be some sort of supernatural undertones to the whole thing. So I'm gonna keep going with that. See where that goes.
I am going to watch it. I do remember watching the show they did in the 90s that were based on it. I remember really enjoying that. So I do have a vested interest in wanting to watch this.
Yeah, and it's very timely as well, because how can you not compare this disease that was man-made, possibly, and released and just obliterates the population of the world. So very interesting, a lot of fun.
Outside of the Wire.
Outside of the Wire, that was it.
do we need to? Well, really interesting. Every time I try to look up the name of this film, I couldn't remember it. I was like, Over the Wire, Under the Wire,
Above the Wire, Beyond the Wire.
This film was so bad that I think I disliked it from the moment it started. About an hour in, I fell asleep. I woke up with about 20 minutes left, and normally I'd rewind back and start watching again. I just turned the fucker off.
I actually think it picked up halfway. It once the main, what was the protagonist or the co-protagonist? Oh, what the fuck's his name? Well, I'm terrible with names all of a sudden, man. Too much working. What's his name?
So you're looking what, Anthony Mackie or
Anthony Mackie? Once Anthony Mackie turns bad, spoiler, but who cares? It's a shit movie. You're not gonna watch it. Once he kind of turns bad and revealed to, whoa, does he turn bad? It's actually not as clear cut as you think. Is he doing it for the right reasons? But once that happens, it actually does get a bit more interesting.
But do people actually care? Like, by the time that happened, did you actually care anymore? Were you just like, I want you all to die?
It's just, I'm interested to know when they filmed this. Whether this was like a pandemic sort of photo film shoot or what. Because I know he is filming Winter Soldier and the Falcon, so I'm not sure whether this was tail end of 1919, but it feels very sparse and empty, and it just kind of, think that damages, makes it cold, and it's just too
there's
dumb.
there's no chemistry, right? Because what I found was, and I should have talked about this earlier, but after I watched this and just hated it, later in that evening I put on Tremors. Remember that original? I got the 4K,
Oh,
and
classic.
literally in the first 2 minutes, I was so invested in those two main characters' relationship, because the way they act at the beginning of the film, they, like they take the piss out of each other, and they're,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? I was like, that's it. I want to follow them. With these two, I
Problem.
really could not care.
The problem with this is like the main dude, the young one. You didn't know whether you were supposed to like him or not. Like, he's a drone operator. He works for the Marines or whatever. And you see him. You see soldiers on the ground being pinned down. Snipers are taking them off. One guy's injured, certain distance away, and he's just watching all this from his drone, just eating gummy bears, just like no care in the world. And you think, am I supposed to like this guy who's like so detached from the realities of war? And they do feed into it later into the film when he's on the other end of it, and he's on the ground, and there's the drone strikes coming. He's like, you can't, there's civilians here. And it's like, it does, But by that point, I think the damage is done. You just don't give a shit about this guy. And of course, Anthony Mackie, is a robot.
He's got no charisma.
He doesn't. He's not good. He shouldn't. He's a cold guy. He's the best friend. He's not a star, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's fine in like the Marvel films, but it just. I mean, if you compare him to, say, like, I know you're gonna hate this, but to Washington like oozes like
the son.
Man.
No, the dad. The dad.
Yeah, I'm talking about the dad.
Man.
No, I'm talking about the son. Yeah. But he don't.
Yeah, it's true. It just
the
fact that he's supposed to be AI and he's supposed to be a complete robot. Yeah. But he's just acting like a normal person, so it just make him.
Do they do anything with that plot line? Like, when you say he turns evil, does he get like jacked? Does he get reprogrammed?
No, he just thinks for himself. But that's the thing; it's not as clear cut as whether he's truly evil. He's kind of It's for me. He's justifying the whole thing of let one person die in order to let a million live, sort of thing.
Because they're talking earlier in the film, about like he goes, if I start acting on an instinct, that means I'm faulty. So I need you with me to follow your gut.
Yeah. So this falls apart. And it's the shittiest AI as well, because you see him, he's just hollow. He's just like a balloon. What sort of robot is that? He's just nothing in him. Not great. Whatever.
1 star. I'd give this a 1-star film, and I didn't even watch the whole damn thing. But I literally say I no plans to even try and do a rewatch.
One thing is a little creepy that they highlight is the idea that the inevitable thing that at least in the next 50 years we will have machine versus machine war. Like, there were a few later on action sequences where it's just like American drone robots on the ground fighting against whatever nation. And it's look at Boston Dynamics. Have you seen? That is what that is.
Yeah, but I think war has now changed. Like, I don't want to become too political, but I think we've seen it over the last couple of years. Actually, you don't even need to put troops onto land, right? You can actually now manipulate governments or even the minds of people in a completely different way.
That's true. But this is for like physical resources. Like, if there's another oil field that someone needs to get their hands on, then this is how they'll do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, it's far cheaper to like put machines out there than there is to like put human lives out there, right? It's easier for a government where you don't have humans having to take orders, rely on them taking orders or thinking for themselves.
Yeah. So 1 star, you're right. Maybe 2.
Yeah.
Effects weren't bad. No. 1.5. 1.5.
That's a third of a film at that rating. We both agreed at that rating as well.
Yeah. Let's do Lockdown.
So, Lockdown. This is a film of 2 halves. And it doesn't know what it wants to be.
Oh,
really?
I loved both of them.
I loved the first half.
Oh, you did like? I thought you were gonna be like, you picked up when the heist begins, but
no, I've got a lot of problems with that heist. The story just does not make sense to me, and there's two aspects. So guys, if you haven't heard of Lockdown, before I go into this, it's essentially a movie made during lockdown, where you've got 2 folks living together, and this is probably it's the first half of the film. Actually, probably. Engages a lot of people, right? Because this is probably happening up and down the country and across the world. Like, people are having to live together are being
and
forced to be with each other.
And I was loving it because they're married, their relationship is falling apart.
Yeah.
Chiwetel Ejiofor has reached the crossroads in his life where he feels like, you know, it's done. He's a fail, he's a loser. So he's having a breakdown, and Anne Hathaway is miserable in her life and her job, and their relationship's dead basically. So they're basically living in their bedrooms away from each other.
And you
it was
know
funny
this
though.
is happening.
But it sounds depressing, but it was
funny.
actually very funny. There's all
it was very, very well done.
I was actually really enjoying it.
But the second half just made no sense, right? She's got a diamond in Harrods. It's her company's. She should be able to very easily just organize going in there and getting it out. But even more bizarre than that, why are they arguing in Harrods as to whether they're gonna make the switch or not? Surely you take the diamond out, you go home, and then you make that conversation.
Well, they couldn't go home. They had to go straight to the airport. So time is a factor.
Get out of Harrods. Don't just stand there and say, "Oh, should we decide here, or should we decide like, are we gonna do it or not?"
If they need to switch it in Harrods, maybe that's an issue. Like they could have just done it while they're once they're out of the building, so there's no cameras watching them doing it.
Yeah. But why the cloak and dagger?
What do you mean?
Why the whole cloak and dagger type of thing about getting the diamond out? Her boss has said to her, we've found a buyer, get the diamond and get it sent out.
Yeah, you're actually right when you think about it.
I was just like,
grab it.
It's like, why are they doing? I understand there's a whole thing about insurance and it has to be a legit driver and all that kind of stuff, right?
I think the crux in the whole thing was him having to be there with the name Edgar Allan Poe.
I kind of get that, but it also kind of seems like he could have just spoken to his boss and got like his proper ID to do this.
I don't think the guy was willing to, because he didn't know who Edgar Allan Poe was. He just wasn't willing to. Can't be that big a deal.
Kind of just seems like there's just something there that just did.
I enjoyed it so much, and just them. I think
they were brilliant together.
Yeah, they're so good together. I was just enjoying them just doing shit around Harrods, and I've never been. What's the last time you been to Harrods? I've never been.
I've been to Harrods loads of times. I've had lunch there. I've had like afternoon tea there. I've had steak there.
You must be fucking rich, because I'm scum of the earth. I'm not allowed to go anywhere near that place.
I think I've been around there with Salim as well, and
you're
Sammy
rich.
when he was younger. No. You just walk around the store. You don't need to buy anything. Like it is a store that is so drastically different from wherever you've been. Like you walk around and you see like beds for like £20,000.
It's mad. Like, how long has it been in business? Over 100 years.
It's been there for years. It's basically been there for longer than I've been alive.
Yeah, it's from the Victorian age.
It's one of those things, because we used to have visitors come from like other countries quite often, and I used to be responsible for like taking them around and showing the site. So everyone always wanted to go to like Harrods.
I've always just think like, what's the big deal? It's a shop.
No. Like Marks and Spencer's is a shop. Harrods is like something on a completely different level. Like, have you been like Harvey Nichols or anything like that? It's like even different from that.
I'm scum. I'm not allowed to.
It's like you go in there and they've got like these Egyptian like statues and columns. You'd love it in there, the architecture and stuff. It's amazing.
How much is a lunch there though?
I'm sure you can find a cheap lunch in there, or even walking around the food court, you can buy stuff in that's fairly reasonably priced.
$20 for a sandwich or some shit.
There is, like, they used to do like this salmon sandwich I absolutely loved, and you'd order fries with it, right? But they'd give you a whole potato and they chop it into 3 fries.
What?
But the salmon sandwich, it was like you paid like $10 for it or whatever it was, right? $15. But it would be the nicest sandwich you have ever tasted.
Dear God.
But like the film itself, I really wanted like the second half to be like something different. Like, you know how people are probably sitting at home and probably thinking about like murdering their partners. Like, I wanted this to like play out like maybe one of these two kills each other and then they got to hide the body.
Because I like their chemistry together. I kind of wanted them to. Usually, I don't want the happy ending. I'm happy to think for the go to shit for people, the characters, but because I did like them. Yeah. And I like Chiwetel a lot. So I kind of wanted them to kind of fix things up, even though there's no way they're going to last for any length of time.
No. It did it look like it looked very digital as well, didn't it? It didn't look very filmic.
No. Yeah, very, yeah. But I think restrictions of the, you know, because they couldn't have had a whole massive
That's
crew.
what I wondered. I wondered if they had cameras just rigged up in rooms that there weren't actually people in there, and it was all directed remotely and stuff.
Well, the cameras were moving, all handheld. Doug Lyman did shoot it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'd imagine they've probably have to observe like a lot of protocols to do this.
Yeah. Apparently, only 18 days it took them to shoot the whole thing, which is a very short time for a movie. But loved it. A lot of fun.
I'm just really surprised. I'm just looking. It's actually only rated a 5 at the moment on IMDb.
Probably not many people have seen it. Again, this is a movie that should have been on Netflix, man. HBO Max is ain't cutting it.
HBO Max movie made and then streamed on Netflix.
But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this.
I'd give it a 3. Average film.
We give it 3.5.
Average.
Yes.
Right, come on, man. Let's get to the good stuff. So we got. Should we do it? Get Expanse and then do WandaVision?
Yeah.
Is Naomi Nagata just the baddest bitch in the galaxy, mate?
That pissed me off because it was
pissed you off.
So stupid. It's so stupid. It's so scientifically inaccurate as to what will happen.
So good though.
Dumb. It's so
like it. Did it like you were because you thought like she's gonna commit suicide and you're sitting there open mouth like she's doing it to kill off Naomi,
and they
right?
Should have just done that. They should have just done that. Basically, guys, a character jumps out of one ship. If you're listening to this and you don't watch The Expanse, character jumps out of one spacecraft of a kind and crosses a short distance in space with no suit to get to a next ship. And yet she's still conscious. She's still able to move and think. But
they do show halfway that something was about to happen. So
too late.
What does she do? Inject herself with adrenaline or something?
But too late. The very second you're exposed to space, two things happen. All the oxygen in your body is expelled. Every cell in your body, your blood, boiled, gone, done. And the second thing is you freeze instantaneously.
But the scene just looks so cool. I'm willing to overlook all of that.
The thing is, the other guy that got trapped in there with him, he died straight away. So why did she not? It made no sense.
No, is he died? Has he died?
Yeah, you see him, he just froze and then his eyes went grey and then he just started to float back. He was done straight.
Sure, he seems to be just standing there.
Nope.
Like holding on. Listen, mate, that's why if he died, that makes Naomi even more of a gangster that she survived that.
Shouldn't have. He made this.
But like, listen, regardless of like the scientific aspect of it, that was a very, very cool scene.
It was.
I was literally sitting there going,
yeah, it would have been better if she died though. I think we'd be more interested in just like, holy shit.
Is that because you don't like Naomi?
She's dumb, but I don't dislike her, but she's dumb for doing everything that got her into this situation. But I think this would have been more of a shock U-turn to have her just say that. You're not using me to kill the other guys. I'm just going to kill myself and boom.
The walls are starting to come down around Marcus Sonaris now because you can see like his son is starting to like see through the bullshit. So I definitely think something is about to happen there. But like when he just like when he just gives Naomi like the backhand.
Your mom, that's so cold.
That was so cold. So cold.
Yeah.
I love this show, man. I really I do look forward to watching this every week.
I do. Couple of days left, yeah. How many episodes we got left?
Yeah, well, I actually don't know.
It actually goes quite a few, doesn't it? Does that like 12 or something?
Because we're into episode 7 already, which it sounds so bizarre. It's like it feels like it only just started.
Well, eventually, when this is done, maybe next year, this will be a welcome rewatch. Probably after I do a Babylon 5 rewatch.
After you've watched all the other things that are outstanding to watch.
That's right. Right.
Like Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I'll be thinking about that. I think I will do it.
You could do like those 2 seasons in like less than a week.
It's a little off-putting when everyone, even when I'm listening to a podcast or I'm watching something on telly, whenever they refer to Cobra Kai, it's always, this show is so bad, but I can't stop watching it. It's so shit, but I love it so much. Everyone always says that.
It's not shit as in like it's a real tough watch. It's cheesy. I'll give it that. It's not a shit show. It's cheesy. It's unrealistic. But it's, like how the
that's what they say.
passion for what they're doing bleeds through so much. You actually really like everything.
That's what they're saying. They just can't stop watching it.
Yeah.
And apparently they're doing spin-offs of Cobra Kai. I don't know how or what characters, but apparently they want. Yo, let's get to it. Big new show this week.
Get to it.
Wandavision. Positives and negatives for me, but I'll let you start.
Man, I got to tell you what, I was looking forward to this show, and while I was watching it, I felt like nostalgia, like I've just never felt before. This really reminded me of like being a child coming home from school and watching like those old comedies that were in reruns.
Yeah,
right? If you imagine like Bewitched
BBC
stuff, that was like rerun time for us. It had been popular in the 60s and the 70s, but they were now being stripped and being shown daily, right? Yeah. So almost all of these like tropes of like the bosses coming to like home for dinner, that's something I've seen 1,000 times, right? Which actually led to a really interesting conversation on Reddit. Someone actually asked, is this a trope that actually used to happen? Because it is quite a bizarre thing. You would never think now, you might do actually, but my boss would never come to dinner to my house.
It is mad, but that's when everyone had that sort of, everyone lived in the same sort of suburban, the wife, the kids, picket fence sort of setup.
Possibly, yeah.
It wouldn't be now where a boss turns up at your flat with like drug addicts sleeping in the stairwell and stuff. Yeah. My issue with this is I think episode 2 should have been episode 1, and episode 1 shouldn't have happened. They shouldn't have bothered with episode 1.
Really?
I think everything that happened.
I found episode 1 was charming.
I felt that everything that was in episode 1 was touched on in episode 2, but episode 2 did it better. It was better directed. It had the Bewitched style. Like episode 1 was after the Dick Van Dyke Show. That's what that one was based on. Whereas episode 2 was more Bewitched.
Even had like the Bewitched like opening credits.
Yeah, and that worked better.
Yeah,
I could see episode 1 putting people off, and kind of going around online. A lot of people are really confused, especially younger ones that don't have that sense of reference for these. And it's like, what am I watching? Like, what is this? I'm watching a Marvel show and it's just some bad sitcom that's not even funny.
Hey, I've got to say, man, I loved both episodes. Loved.
There's definitely an interesting mystery going on there. Like you saw at the end.
Yes.
So I'm watching her on telly, and there's the little dashes of color they throw in now and again with little objects. So she's trapped somewhere. They're doing it differently than the comic books, obviously.
Yeah.
So
I'm assuming she's trapped. She's created this whole thing in her mind, right?
But who's monitoring her? Who's watching her? Who are the various characters? Because we saw from the trailers, her neighbor, some of her friends, people in the neighborhood, they're kind of trapped in there with her, but they're also real. Some of them at least are real people in some degree.
Did you catch Emma Caulfield?
Give me a reference for what she's.
You're gonna be like, who's Emma Caulfield? She was Anya in Buffy.
Oh yeah, the stuck up episode 2 chick. Yeah, definitely.
Although I think she's in it more because I'm sure I've seen a shot of her in the Color episode as well.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think everyone we've seen is going to keep coming back, the whole little circle as it jumps decade to decade from sitcoms.
They did take this to the extreme as well, though, because not only did they go for black and white, but the aspect ratio was 4:3 as well.
Yeah.
To really drive you home. I do wonder how many people at home.
You didn't need 2 black and white. They just weren't.
Regardless of whether they did need it or not, I enjoyed both immensely. They covered those. Maybe because I'm a fan of sitcoms, right? I do love a good sitcom. People have been watching the show. No, I watch a ton of terrible sitcoms.
If you were just to judge it purely on the sitcomness of it, it wasn't good. It wasn't funny at all.
Yeah, but a lot of the sitcoms of the era actually were like that. If you go back and watch like a I Love Lucy episode,
I watched a bunch of Dick Van Dyke shows in preparation for the first episode.
Yeah,
there was a little whimsical, funny charm about them.
Yeah. But they are very much like that, aren't they? They make those. They are jokes that if there wasn't applause and it just aren't funny, but they are made to be funny this way.
Did you find Paul Bettany's accent jarring for the setting of it all?
I'm the worst person to judge an accent because when you sometimes go on forums and people say, "Oh, he's doing a terrible accent," it's changing.
No, it's just his normal voice, the English accent in that American sitcom. Was it just a bit? No. Yeah, I found it a bit jarring. It's just kind of, I don't know, just didn't really click. But episode 2, I think was a lot better. I'm liking it. I'm intrigued. See where it goes, but
Yeah.
one just didn't need to be there. It was.
No. Whether it needs to be there or not, well, actually, the fact that they dropped it both together, maybe if it's like 1 week and then a break, then we got the next week, maybe wouldn't have worked as well. Be like 2 weeks on the trot, but like I just saw it as like a 90-minute film.
Okay. So you're definitely intrigued for.
Oh, incredibly intrigued. In fact, what I actually really like is the fact that it's so different, right? It's not it's not an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's not like a Daredevil. It's not like, it's just something, this has got to be something that's so different from anything that's come from any like comic book source. Really, like, I'm so happy that I'm watching something off the wall and different. Yeah. But not so off the wall that it's annoying.
I like that they are willing to take risks at this point, that they're confident enough in the success that they've had, that they're just doing sitcoms.
Yeah.
Doing 60 sitcoms.
And you know what's really good is, like, I know, like, some people are complaining, oh, this is like not even a PG-13, right? But like, it's not directly just aimed at children. There's nothing about that plot that just says, I am a child show. Yeah, in fact, like you said, actually, if you're a child, you probably are quite confused as to like what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. It's really not for kids, because you ain't got. I can imagine 10-year-old Marvel fans looking at this and being just bored and then walking away, just playing with the toys. Like, why would they? And until it starts to get color and interesting things start happening, yeah. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna. Of course, I'm going to stick with it. Of course. I want to know what's going on. Where is she?
Very good.
Yeah. So, that's it for our reviews. Let's get into the trailers. Right.
So let's race through some of these. Some of these like meh. Some of these aren't.
We're an hour already.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Let's race through this. And you added more trailers. Right. Do you want to start on that list and maybe pick out some that we don't want to talk about and skip over them?
Just read them out and I'll
right.
Say quick.
So, Clarice, Silence of the Lambs TV series spin-off.
We had the Hannibal show, which was just premium. Mwah, love that show. That's the Silence of the Lambs spin-off that we needed more. And this would have been good if this was kind of wrapped into Hannibal, if it got to the point where this could pick up from there. So it just bums me out that they didn't keep going with that one.
So this looks like it must be a CBS show, right? Because it's got Alex Kurtzman as a creator.
Yeah, CBS.
So he's very busy with all the Star Trek stuff. He's taking on another show.
Yeah, so I'm going to check it out, though, because like I said, loved Hannibal. Even though this looks a lot more generic crime, I'll still give it a go, because I do like the whole Silence of the Lambs shit. Next.
Right, Stray, which really, like, it really tugged at the heartstrings, this one, and I really want to watch this. It's all about, I think it's like dogs that are roaming around in, like, is it Turkey?
Turkey, yeah. I actually watched a little short YouTube documentary thing. I don't know. I think it was about either Turkey or a neighboring country that has a similar thing towards animals. They don't kill the strays, they don't capture them, they just let them just live. And they take care of them. Like, there was a park that was just full of cats, and they built little open cat huts for them.
Yep.
People from the council come with food and they feed them every day. And that's why none of these stray animals in Turkey look sickly. Like, they're not all mangy and really skinny, because they do take care of them, even though they don't have homes.
So I'm a member of like a lot of like cat subreddits on Reddit, and you literally have like Turkish people always, like, whenever they post a video of like Turkey and cats, people like chime in, and apparently, like, they absolutely love cats over there. They go, you go, no one needs to own a cat or have a cat, because you go out and you can find one to like pet and stroke and feed. And
that's enough to make me want to go Turkey as a holiday, just to hang out with the pet animals. Because that's the thing, because the attitude we have here in most Western countries and Western Europe and all of that is, get away. So I think that causes anxiety in animals, and then you'd have more instances of animals attacking people or attacking kids. But apparently that's not an issue over there. Like, it's just the animals are so used to interactions with people that they're gentle and such a
it's an amazing. I guess the weather is probably a lot more hospitable for them to live outside as well than it is here.
So there's a documentary following a stray dog, and it just looks nice.
Because I think they did a cat one a couple of years ago, didn't they? I'm pretty sure that was on YouTube Red.
Okay, so thumbs up.
Yep. All right. Bliss, which looks really interesting. Looks like Truman Show style. So this is like the one with him. I can never remember who it is, whether it's Luke Wilson or Owen Wilson, with Salma Hayek.
Luke. Is it? Shit, I don't even know which one it is. I think it's Luke Wilson. The
It
one with the
does
fucked
look
up nose. The one with the mad nose. That one. Yeah, this is interesting. This is gonna be
Owen.
a prime.
It's Owen. It's Owen Wilson.
This is gonna be a prime show, and it's kind of like a cross between Matrix and Inception. Like you don't really know whether when you're awake, when he's asleep, there's some weird sort of science experiments going on that Salma Hayek's behind.
Let me read the synopsis here, because you know I'm sure people who are listening and haven't seen it are going to struggle to understand. But basically, a mind-bending love story following Greg, who after recently being divorced and then fired, meets the mysterious Isabel, a woman living on the streets and convinced that the polluted, broken world around them is a computer simulation.
Okay, intriguing. So,
yeah, very intriguing. Very Truman Show-like, right?
Still more Matrixy. This would have been a good prequel.
Truman Show versus the Matrix.
Yeah.
And there's some really spectacular looking stuff in the actual trailer as the two different worlds start to break down or merge together.
Yeah, you see him manipulating the world around him, throwing things, crushing cards. So this could be. Is there a date on this?
You know what? I actually don't know.
We'll look it up later.
Yeah.
Thumbs up for that. I'm gonna give that a look when it drops.
Cherry, starring Tom Holland, and I believe this is the Russo brothers.
Yes, this looked good.
Look very stylish.
Yeah, guy suffering PTSD, come back from the military, but even before then, it looked like he may be some level of autistic, maybe, because he's saying that he feels everything really intensely in the world around him.
So the synopsis actually says an army medic suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder becomes a serial bank robber after an addiction to drugs puts him in debt.
PTSD. Yeah, that's good. Terrible bank robber though, because half the time he wasn't wearing a mask, but he does refer to that though.
But unfortunately, one of these films that's going to be stranded on Apple Plus.
But we'll still watch it.
I don't know what to say about Apple Plus, because obviously they've just extended their free trial again.
Why would you do that?
To June or July, to July of this year.
They want to get more people in, but they just ain't churning out enough interesting content to get people to watch.
Exactly. It's like people have it for free. Like I've got mine for free because it came with a device that I bought. And like I said, like they keep extending, but I've watched nothing. Like beyond, you remember when you guys first came over, when it was first launched, we watched a couple of things. Ted Lasso, and that was it after that.
Yeah, not enough. Whoever they're in charge of their creative team that comes up with, all the shit, try better.
I'll tell you what it is, because it's also not available on Android TV, I have to change inputs to watch it, and I just never can be asked to do that, because you have to specifically said, I want to go to the other input to browse my Fire Stick.
That's also a big mistake. Why would they do that?
Because they're Apple.
Yeah, well, that's just dumb. That is so dumb.
So dumb. It's like Disney launched everywhere, and you saw like them take.
Hate to say it, but I think they're trying too hard to come out of the gate in terms of creating content to be HBO, when, to be honest, you kind of need to do what Netflix did and just kind of start a little bit lower. Come up with some cool highbrow stuff, but also you're going to need some popcorn stuff to get the general populace in. But they seem to be just going all highbrow.
Yeah, but remember, they don't have any other content. So it's not like on Netflix. If you don't want to watch Netflix stuff, there's loads of licensed content. There's nothing.
MGM, baby. Go in them pockets.
Oh, yeah, you know it's going to happen. Right. So, I care a lot. Right. So this looked really good. But it's really strange because everywhere outside of the UK, this is a Netflix film. But in the UK, it's being distributed by Amazon Prime. Don't know what's going on there. But the film itself, like the first, 30-45 seconds, you think this is gonna be like some really sappy, melodramatic story about old age, about being like in a home by yourself, and that's it. And then all of a sudden, bam!
Yeah,
it kicks in.
The con begins. Wanna read the synopsis?
So essentially, I Care a Lot is a crooked regal guardian who drains the savings of her elderly wards meets her match when a woman she tries to swindle turns out to be more than she first appears.
Yeah, she is connected. Like, oh, we saw Peter Dinklage. It's nice seeing him again. That's like this gangster.
Yeah.
That's gangster with his whole crew in there, basically going after the woman.
Yeah. There's that shot at the end where the woman is actually saying like, "You're not going to win against me," and Diane West just starts laughing.
You can tell she's drugged up to her eyeballs. She's still laughing like it's not going to work out for you.
Yeah, brilliant. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah,
I think this is dropping like early February. This is definitely going to be one to watch.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yes. Right. Okay. So, HBO's 30 coins. Let's not spend a huge amount of time on this, but I thought it looked really interesting.
A horror thriller based around Catholicism in some ways. It was basically about the coins that Judas got placed in his palm by the Romans to sell out Jesus. They still exist, but there's some power connected to them, and people are collecting them for whatever reasons. And I love that idea that these coins still exist.
The idea is really cool, but you kind of think that's just weird because they're just coins. But now, because the reason of what they were used for, they've now suddenly got like this external power. Yeah.
I love that. Love that.
Yeah, that was the whole reason that got me interested. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and watch this.
And then all the supernatural stuff started happening. That mad spider thing was running around in the forest. Yeah, I'm.
So this is streaming already. So like, if you want to watch, go out and watch, folks.
Goody. I'm getting it. I'm watching that. 30 coins.
Right. And then Wally's Wonderland.
Nicolas Cage is back.
Not saying a hell of a lot.
It's fun. It's basically what's it, Five Nights at Freddy's, that game where you're stuck in a store with all the toys that come alive and try to kill you. It's basically that, but in a fairgrounds where Nicolas Cage busts his car and this guy says he'll fix his car if he stays in this amusement park and cleans it overnight. So he's like, oh, fine, does it, and everything comes to life and tries to kill him, but he seems to be willing to rise to the occasion. He doesn't seem that bothered by it. It's all the other teenagers that are trying to help him and get him out of there that seem to be getting killed.
Yeah, he seems in these elements. And there's a line in the trailer where they go, he's not trapped in there with them, they're trapped in there with him.
Yeah, classic line. So, yeah, it's just fun. It's going to be a good laugh.
This is dropping February 12th, apparently. I guess on demand, right? Not cinema.
Busy month.
So it's a busy month. We're gonna be watching a lot of films, Eddie. Right. I hadn't even heard of this one until today. Eddie's playing this one. I am gonna love this. Young Rock, or the report. Yeah, I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna love this.
Basically, Rock was sitting at home, flicking through the channels, counting his money, laughing. How he's got everyone fooled that he's such a nice guy. And he saw young Sheldon and probably saw reruns of, Everyone Hates Chris. And thought, what would be even better than what these are? A show just like this about me when I was a kid. Everyone loves me. They're going to love me when I'm a kid too.
Yeah. Why not? Why not?
And he even had to be in it. Couldn't just have a voiceover. Had to have his face doing interviews, introducing the stories.
but why not? Because you mentioned like Everybody Hates Chris, and all of a sudden I was like, I haven't seen that show in years. I wish somebody was like streaming it or repeating it or something. I would like to watch that. But this kind of like gives you a new, fresh take on that.
Yeah, I guess he kind of got the added thing of his dad being a wrestler, African American, or no, he was Canadian actually, Black Canadian, but his mum being Samoan. Yeah, he was a black guy, but he's from Canada. And his mum being, Samoan. And that interesting challenges that gave him as growing up in Miami, I think he was. Where he's from.
I really like the look of this. I am 100% going to be watching this and then describing every week to you, Eddie, in great detail until you watch it.
So this is one for Mo. He's going to love this every week.
Yeah. Right. And then lastly, we've got breaking news in Yuba County.
Yeah, this is fun. A hell of a cast. Shit ton of people. And just this mad, wacky Is her husband being kidnapped? Did she kill him? Who are these people that are trying to help her fight? Like, it's just mental.
So the summary for this is really long, right? So after her husband goes missing, Sue Batten, an underappreciated suburban wife, gets a taste of being a local celebrity as she embarks on a city-wide search in Yuba County to find him. In effort to prolong her newfound fame, she stumbles into a hilarious hijinks as her world turns upside down, doing a wannabe mobster, a relentless local policewoman, her half sister, a local news reporter desperate for a story, and her husband's dead beat brother, who all set out to uncover the truth behind the disappearance.
Yeah, look mental, look fun,
Very fun.
good cast. So I trust that performances are all going to be up there. So yeah, I look
Dropping
forward to
February
this.
12th as well. There seems to be a lot of films dropping like in a very short space of time.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, but like you're saying, the cast, right? Mila Kunis, Juliette Lewis, Aquafina.
Yep.
I'm sure I've said that wrong, but
No,
Wanda
that's it.
Sykes, Regina Hall as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you get the guy from Always Sunny?
Jimmy Simpson. He's got that face where I think I've done this with him before. Like, I know I've seen him from somewhere, but I cannot remember where.
How, dude? Instantly. Westworld.
See,
Always Sunny.
when I watch a
blind.
show, I get sucked into the show. The actors do such a good job. Like they
The
become
trailer.
that. They become that character.
Great.
Right.
Yeah, let's whiz through the news, man.
Let's whiz through the news here. There isn't much, but
One.
there are a few juicy little bits here. So let's have a look. First on the top of the list is Kitbag. I think we have spoke about Kitbag before. I'm sure that name is going to change, but it has now firmly landed at Apple Plus. Now, Kitbag is going to be a story, and I think you and I are going to love this. It's going to be a film, Ridley Scott to direct, about Napoleon.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
So
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yep, Joaquin Phoenix is in there. I wanted him to do like Julius Caesar, but no, he's going to go and do another person who was very influential throughout like history.
French.
This could be epic.
Lunatic. 5 foot. I think Wack is a bit tall, but close enough.
I'll do that. You can do things with the camera, right? Because they can like make people bigger and smaller and stuff. Like, I'm not worried about that. I am worried how epic can this actually be. I'd imagine Apple will spend the money because they are doing it for Scorsese as well. But again, it's gonna be stuck on this service that people can't access if you don't have Apple stuff.
Yeah.
It's just I hope it comes to the cinema. That's all I can say.
I think it will. I think by the time they haven't started with this yet, so
yeah.
I think eventually, they'll be. That's the thing. Everything really needs to be open for them to really do this justice when they shoot it. Because Napoleon was everywhere. You have to be in France. You have to be in Britain. You have to all the wars that he was the general of. Him getting locked in prison, escaping, and getting locked up again on an island. There's all sorts of.
It's cool filming in Canada. Canada, you can do anything as long as you want it to look. Stallone, man, the dude is 70 and he still looks better shape than I am in, right? And we've had the first screenshot come out of like his new film. I don't even know he's making a film. He's doing a superhero film at the age of 70. And the director of the film actually had this to say, right? This is a big event movie. We see our heroes kicking ass. We're going to see Sly do things he hasn't done in a long time and in a really inventive way. He's 73 years old. I'm amazed by how much he actually does. I'm telling you, most guys in their 20s wouldn't be able to do what Sly is doing in this movie.
Any movie that Sly's in that he's not directing, he's still directing. He's notorious that any director that turns up is just a point and shoot guy. He's still Stallone, so it's still going to be the same whatever. Like if this was the 80s or 90s, I'd still trust Stallone directed movie, but he hasn't been good in 20 years. Like he's lost his touch. He can't tell a decent story. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy, so that's why he wants to do this, because he saw how popular that was. You already fucked up Dread.
Wants to make the money.
Yeah,
do you know the synopsis for the film?
Give it a go, why not?
So it's essentially based on an original idea, which is cool, right? Basically, the thriller centers around a young boy who discovers, who is out to discover if the mythic superhero who vanished 20 years earlier following a tragic event is still alive. So it sounds more like Hancock than it does like MCU.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe he really did let the director do his thing, and this could be great. This could be amazing.
Interesting. Right. So Netflix apparently launched an advertising campaign last week, right? There is going to be a new movie every single week for all of 2021. And we've already seen the first one.
How are they burning? When did they shoot all these? Like,
Mate, they've got like a magic genie somewhere that says, give us 52 films.
It's insane. Like, how? I get why they're in such debt. Like, I know it doesn't necessarily equal that they're not valuable or anything, but just spending crazy money. But how much have they shot during this quarantine year that they can still have films?
If you remember they when we were talking about this at the beginning of quarantine last year, they were saying they were well into shooting stuff for next year already. Like everything for 2020 had already been shot.
Yeah, but I'm thinking for 2022, like there has to be a point where there's a slowdown.
There absolutely must be, right? But 52 films. I wonder if it will translate to 52 films or whether it'll actually be more. But having said all that, we've already seen the first film, Outside the Wire, whatever it was called.
Yeah, and
it set the benchmark really, really low. But there is some good stuff. There's like the Army of the Dead, which I'm really excited about. I'm really looking forward to that. That does sound pretty cool. I'm kind of looking at the names of like a lot of these films. They mean absolutely nothing to me, but they've got names. They've got DiCaprio. They've got Sandra Bullock, Dwayne Johnson, Idris Elba.
Jennifer Lawrence, that one that they've got with DiCaprio. That's gonna be cool.
More with like Ryan Reynolds, Jennifer Garner, Gal Gadot. I keep saying her name wrong. Gal Gadot. Yes.
I guess some of these they probably bought in.
Yeah, I'm sure out of 52, I'm sure there's going to be a handful of good ones, right? And if you really look at it, no studio, like at their entire output from a year, not every single film was a surefire hit. And so even if like 10 of these are good.
And this doesn't even include the friggin' TV shows that they've got.
No.
That's crazy. That's so
crazy.
Bad.
It's so we're going to be watching a lot of films this year already. Like our choice of film. You know what? We need to do a top 5 turkey as well this year of films.
Worst films
because
of the
Outside the Wire is number 1 so far.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do that so far.
Definitely need to do that.
Yeah.
We already mentioned the Apple extends Apple TV.
Battlestar Galactica.
Right. This is really interesting. So I came across this article this morning. They are experimenting with a possible new way of dropping episodes for Battlestar Galactica, the reimagining of the reboot or whatever. So essentially, the gist of the article says, if we've got a 3-part episode, we may drop all 3 episodes in one go. So obviously, this alludes to it's not going to drop like the whole lot in one go. But they go, if we've got an episode that concentrates maybe on one character, and we shoot a 20-minute short episode that gives you the backstory of that character, we may just drop that into the middle of the season. So, you know, like those webisode type shows? Yeah, you might get like accompanying shows in between, which is going to be a nightmare for like future generations. You know, when you have to work out what order you need to watch stuff in, whether they count it as part of the series, whether it's a special episode,
maybe it'd be tagged as episode 3.5.
Yeah,
in that sort of way.
But it is interesting. At first, when I read it, I was like, this is bullshit, right? But as I've been thinking about this during the day, actually what they're doing is kind of like giving you the main series and then maybe dropping like little bits outside of that are giving you more context. Maybe like come from the cutting room floor. Probably doesn't cost them any more to like film those extra 20 minutes because you've got all the sets, you've got all the people.
Who was making this again?
This is this is NBC Peacock.
Yeah, I'm cautious because it's already perfect as it was, so I don't see what else there is to tell, but we'll see. It
is, but I think this is more around like the way they're planning to drop the episodes rather than whether the show is not any good. And you know, there's only really 2 models, and there has been for like forever. There's like one at a time or drop everything, right? So this is really interesting. They're coming at it from a different angle now.
Everyone's trying something.
Right.
We won't dwell on this. Yeah, we won't dwell on this too much because it's dumb. But yeah, Armie Hammer. He was going to make a movie with Jennifer Lopez.
Yep. That's drop out.
which he needed because he hasn't really been in a big film for a while. But accusations came out from a mysterious woman who leaked a conversation supposedly from him on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's just so dumb that he's like cannibal. But if you read it, it just sounds like a guy who's just kinky. He sounds like a
Oh,
BSM.
absolutely. So we'll talk about the cannibal stuff in a minute, but like all the other stuff, the dude is being shamed for like just enjoying like life, right?
Passionate sex.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If they're two consenting adults, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, right?
You like getting tied up, you like getting choked. That's nothing wrong with that.
Or that whole you own me, servant, master type thing, right? That's happening in the bedroom. Whatever happens there, that should be his own
50 Shades of Grey, there was a massive franchise based on it, and women loved it. And that was based on the whole master-slave scenario.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Someone's trying to shame this guy, right? And because of the world that we live in at the moment, unfortunately, it's having a negative impact. There is that whole little bit about him cutting off her pinky pinky toe, and carrying it around. That's a little bit strange, and no, you shouldn't be doing that.
If the messages are real, which he's refuting, and some friends of his, like Bella Thorne, came out and said, it's bullshit, it ain't real. But even if they are real,
but I don't think you would talk to somebody about stuff like that just in conversation, right? You would only talk about that in an intimate moment with like someone that you really trust. So I don't know what the relationship between him and Bella Thorne was, and whether they actually ever had that kind.
No, this is just talking as a friend.
She's just saying like I've worked with him, we hang out, and he's a really nice guy. You don't really learn.
You don't know where people get in the bedroom. That's true.
Yeah, exactly.
But even if they were him, wasn't there anything there that was just like that wouldn't be like a joke? Some people say jokey shit to themselves. Like,
exactly. Exactly.
Carry you around. I love you.
Bullshit. I mean, I can't say I'm the biggest fan of Armie Hammer films. I don't really give a back. But the dude, he is being shamed. He's having to step down for absolute bullshit reasons. And I hope he hasn't ever cut off someone's pinky toe and carried it around.
Don't kink shame. That should be a new hashtag.
It should. Absolutely.
The kink shaming.
Eddie, start it, trend it.
Yes, we'll do it.
Couple of rumors before we sign off. Matt Damon apparently cast in Thor 4, right? But I've not seen anything concrete. But apparently he has entered the Australian quarantine system. Look how advanced that country is. They have a quarantine system that you enter that people are aware of.
But he was in Ragnarok, so it's just him reprising his role as the actor of Asgard.
You know what? I'm struggling to remember him in. What was he in?
When Thor comes back. Is it Ragnarok? Yeah, it was Ragnarok, wasn't it? Or was it the one before? No, I think it was Ragnarok. Or maybe even one of the films. Might have been the Avengers one. One of the Avengers. But when he comes back to Asgard, Loki is posing as the dad, isn't it? As Odin, and he's watching the play. Is
that Ragnarok?
Might be Ragnarok. It might be one of the Avengers. I can't forget.
Yeah.
How many? All blurs in my mind. But he's watching the play of Loki and Thor, and Loki. It's the reenactment of Loki dying.
Oh, you know what? I think I do recall. It's not a massive role, is it?
No. It's a little cameo. No. And Matt Damon played the Loki, the actor Loki, and Hemsworth.
I remember this now. Yeah. Yes.
So he's part of the canon now. So that's what he'd be reprising his role as.
I love it. Would love to see a bit of Matt Damon in the MCU.
While we're talking rumors, the guy from Daredevil, that main actor, he was spotted on set of Spider-Man 3. Apparently, he filmed all this stuff. If that's
Charlie Cox.
True, that's it.
Yeah.
So
you know what? Do you remember? Was it 2 seasons ago where they had the CW crossover of crossover events?
Yeah.
That's what this Spider-Man movie is shaping up to be, right? It's like, but I really hope it's something I want to watch, because I think I only managed to stomach an episode and a half of like that CW crossover.
Dude, you're comparing the MCU, Kevin Feige, masterclass of filmmaking, to the fucking CW Berlanti bullshit.
It's just talking of Kevin Feige. I'm going to digress for a second. I completely forgot the man's doing a Star Wars trilogy as well. I bet you that is going to be the finest Star Wars trilogy since the original.
It's too much pressure, man.
I think Kevin Feige must have the secret formula that The Rock has. of how to do so much of stuff.
True. Even Ben Affleck was saying he's like the greatest producer ever.
He absolutely is, right? If not the greatest, he certainly has the vision and the focus and all that kind of stuff.
No one's built anything as big as what he built. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And talking of more MCU rumors, apparently Chris Evans is coming back as Captain America.
Possibly, yeah. But I think it will just be in a context of alternate timeline or
Spider-Man 3.
Something along them lines. Yeah, different. Maybe a story earlier. Yeah, I don't think it'll be as a Captain America that continue more Captain America films. I don't think it's in that.
So let me ask the $1 million question then. Are we likely to see at some point, when enough time has elapsed, we see an alternate Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man cameo?
I think there was rumors about him cameoing in something as well this week. I'm not sure what that would be. Could be again Spider-Man, like anything that deals with time bending of times, anything with Doctor Strange. That's the thing with these comic book movies.
They can do whatever.
They go wherever they go, and people can just pop up, even if it's just 5 minutes.
But I do like that. I like the fact that they are now embracing the comic book style, because if you look at comic book movies through the generations, they've never really embraced their comic book heritage. They've always tried to stay rooted. I say rooted. I know they are like superhero films, but they try to stay within sort of like some sort of established dogma and don't really ever tread the roots of their comics.
That's because they don't have a connected universe around it, so you can't really have fun like that when it's just a standalone thing like what DC does.
Yeah,
you know, it takes away. That's why I love it all being connected, because then you could do fun things like this. When it's a standalone, it's like, I want other characters to pop up, and I want all my toys in one box so I can play with them together.
We are getting that. It just seems like such a long time since we've had like a Marvel film. I know that they're not the greatest films in the world, and I keep thinking that I need to go and do like that rewatch of like that first 4 phases.
I was thinking that should be our next little series. The MCU.
Do an MCU rewatch.
Yeah,
one a week.
Yeah, 1 to be 2. Actually, no, one because there's so many other films.
We've got a lot of other films to watch.
You're right. There's so much. We have to just do one. Yeah, we should.
Right, we'll have an offline talk about that.
Yeah, we do that. So, Mo.
Right, cool, guys. Right, if you want to email us, folks, we are tatmpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we are talking at the movies. And since I've been posting loads, we do seem to be getting lots of interaction, likes, retweets, and conversation going. So that's really enjoyable. If you want to follow us on Instagram, we are talking at the movies.
And guys, don't forget Voltron Network on YouTube. Give us a like, subscribe. Help the analytics be kind to us, because they're not very kind at the moment. So from me, the race.
And me, Mo.
See you guys next week. Bye.
So, folks.